Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
This is Herflow from Hot 702.5 FM. Las Vegas, looking for a winner-takes-all way to burn off that extra energy? Welcome to Bouncy World, the ultimate climate-controlled indoor playground. We're stacking the deck with specials all week long. Cool off with Frosty Tuesdays featuring ice-cold treats for the kids. Then join us for free popcorn Thursdays because nothing beats a salty snack after a giant bounce. And at Bouncy World, we believe every child deserves their moment to soar. Join us every Sunday from 9 to 11 a.m. for Sensory Sundays. We dim the lights and turn off the music to create a calm, inclusive space designed specifically for our neurodiverse community. At Bouncy World, we fly high. From high-flying fun to inclusive play, we've got it all. Visit us at bouncyworldlv.com to book your party or check our open play hours. Bouncy World, jump into the fun today. Close your eyes. Imagine a room that doesn't just look beautiful, it feels alive. The lighting is perfect, the energy is electric, and the scent of gourmet creation is in the air. Now look around. You aren't just checking the kitchen or hovering over the guest list. You're in the moment. You're the life of the party. Welcome to the world of irresistible events and catering. In a city built on spectacle, we specialize in spectacular. At Irresistible Events and Catering, we just don't fill plates, we curate memories because our philosophy is simple, elegant, and absolute. We plan, cater, and style any event. Why settle for ordinary when you can have the irresistible? Elevate your event at irresistibleeventslv.com.
Hi. Hey. What's up?
All your favorite artists.
Check it out. Say my name. DJ Khaled.
This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars. On hot7025fm.com.
Hey, this is Herflow from Hot 702.5 FM, where we bring you the best in hip-hop, R&B, pop, and talk. Tune in. Hey, thank you for tuning in. You have tuned into The Flow with Herflow right here at Hot 702.5 FM. And I thank you guys for being here every single week at 4 p.m. where I am blazing hot every single week. You guys, every week I have a special guest, and this is like none other. And we have the GOAT of relationship coaches here, you guys. I'm going to introduce him. I'm going to give him a welcoming introduction. His name is Reggie Rogers, and he is an author. He's also a relationship coach, and he has his own podcast and a book. So we're going to get into it and get into the tea because we don't have time to waste. There's some exciting things going on here today. So thank you for tuning in. Reggie, how are you today?
I'm good. I just want to make one correction, though.
Yes.
My professional name, everybody knows me as C. Reggie Rogers.
C. Reggie Rogers. Okay. No pun intended. C. Reggie Rogers right here.
Exactly.
On Hot 702. Reggie, let's get into it. So, I met you. It's so crazy because I met you at a car wash. Mm-hmm. And I stopped you and I said, Reggie, what do you do? And I didn't say, Reggie, what do you do? But I said, what do you do? And I was just interested because you had this aura and this energy just spoke. It spoke volumes. And you told me, you said, I'm a relationship coach. I said, okay, Reggie, we got to talk. We got to talk more. I have a radio show that I would love for you to be on. And you were just so amazing. And you came on my show and here you are. Is that correct?
Yeah, I appreciate it. You were very kind yourself. You had good energy.
Thank you.
And I'm all about energy. That's how I talk about relationships. It's about merging energy. So
yeah.
Your aura was great.
Thank you. I try to keep it that way. So you actually came here in 2000, correct? Somewhere around the early 2000s?
I've been in Las Vegas since 2001.
Okay.
About 25 years now.
Yeah. And what happened that led you here to Las Vegas that you said, hey, I need to start over? Where you were originally from?
So I'm from Philadelphia, city of brotherly love. And if you're from there, you know it as a sisterly affection as well.
Yes.
So my father actually died in an automobile accident in 2000.
Yeah.
So everything
My
in Philly,
condolences.
I appreciate that. Everything in Philly kept reminding me of my dad. At that time, I would find myself grieving, crying at stoplights, and I'd hear certain songs, and it would just make me boohoo. So I felt like I probably needed to go to a different place and get a different scenery, and that's why I ended up coming to Vegas.
Okay.
But I wanted to pick some place that didn't snow either.
Right. I know the feeling because I'm actually from the Midwest and I got tired of the Four Seasons. So that's why I'm here in Vegas too, amongst other reasons. But I want to just thank you. And, I want to talk about, let's get into what you do.
Okay.
What is your title and what actually do you do?
So I've been in this dating and relationship space for now over a decade. I'm known as, depending on what circle, they call me the #1 relationship coach and singles empowerment coach. So this is my 4th book. So I've been talking about dating and relationships. I've been on a lot of the mainstream television shows as well. I'm actually leaving next week to do the relationship show with Mike Hill and Hope Flood. And so I've been in this space for a long time. Again, this is my 4th book, and this book, the book that I have out currently, is called Awake and Ready to Date. It's dating from an expanded conscious perspective. But I think what separates me from a lot of relationship coaches is I get into the science of dating. That's why it's called dating from an expanded conscious perspective. It's understanding how to have a relationship with yourself. I want to empower you to understand you. Once you can really dig to the substratum of who you are, then you can really understand what it takes to have a relationship with you first, and then now you can have a relationship with someone else because you are at peace with you. So there's 3 things that has to happen with you. First of all, you got to know thyself. Secondly, you have to be true to yourself. And then thirdly, you have to love yourself. Most people don't understand what it means to be true to thyself. Why? Because one of the questions that I'll always ask somebody is, do you remember who you were before the world told you who you are? Most people don't remember who they were before the world told them who they are, because it's an image. You portray an image. And so once you pull back the layers of that image of who you've been portraying for so long, you'll be surprised at what you really would see.
Yeah. My favorite quote, and I think I say it probably on every show that I have, is we are patchwork quilts of what we've learned and our knowledge and who we're around and the things that we've experienced. And so that kind of ties into what you are saying. Yeah.
100%. You know, you have to get, so what we call this subconscious to get to the consciousness of who you are. And so I like to say that I give dating advice from a conscious male's perspective.
So let me ask you this. You frequently advocate for dating from an expanded conscious mode, like you just said, right?
Yeah.
For someone stuck in the toxic patterns, for someone stuck in the toxic patterns, how do you explain the concept that you were just saying
of
in terminology?
Toxicity?
Yes.
So, I think what happens is toxicity is it's like you're chasing your tail. You've gotten so comfortable having drama, being in the drama, and having these toxic encounters. And so what has to happen is you got to look in the mirror one day and then go back to what I said. You got to be true to yourself. You have to. So let's talk about truth, because truth becomes what really is. What is it? What is the thing that really has you there? So you have to have an honest conversation with who you are. Then not only you have to know thyself. The word know comes from, it's a word of intimacy. And the word intimacy comes from 2 words, in time. So you have to take some time to find out who you really are. That's being true to yourself, knowing thyself, because we say the word know is a word of intimacy, because I think in the Bible it talks about how Mary said, how can I be pregnant when I have not known a man? So I have not laid down with a man. I have not become intimate with a man. So therefore, how can I be pregnant, right? So what she was saying is, in order for her to become pregnant, she would have had to have known or laid down with a man. Most people don't know themselves because they've never taken the time to really lay down with themselves. And a lot of women in particular, what we call is when they get out of relationships, they do what we call this Tarzan syndrome. They just swing from branch to branch, trying to find themselves in another man, and they keep going. And men have what we call this ego. So their ego drives them to go to the next woman. And so women become emotionally driven, men become ego driven. And so this ego gets in the way and their emotion gets in the way. So if you really start understanding what it means to be expanded in your consciousness, then you will understand that emotions are the language of the body. And so if emotions are the language of the body, that's why you got to put your body in check. But then not only are emotions the language of the body, energy becomes the language of the mind.
Absolutely. I agree.
So then I have to get you to that place of understanding what it means to have this, what I call this PSI. What is a PSI? It's understanding people that are synergistically involved. So what's synergy? Synergy is when you merge energies. You bring two energies together. So when you get to the place where you are good in your energy, your model then becomes when the energy's wrong, your conversation's not long. So now you're not going to be in a toxic relationship because you're going to go the other way.
I want you to say that one more time.
Which part?
When you said it about synergy, I want you to talk about synergy, what you just said when your mind, about your mind and you being in a place of where you can accept the fact of yourself and being in yourself.
Let's go back to this. Thoughts become the language of the mind, right? Emotions become the language of the body. So then if the thoughts are off, then the emotions are going to be off because thoughts are the language of the mind. What are you thinking about? Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you tune into, you turn into. So you have to go back to what is it that you're feeding yourself? It goes back to what I'm talking about. Truth, knowing thyself, understanding truth, and then loving thyself, right? So how do you love yourself? Love can be defined in so many ways. You have what we call an eros type of love. That comes from our English word erotica. That's a touchy-feely, and that's what we do with our potential partner. We just want to touch and feel. Right? Or you can have what we call this phileo type of love. That's the root word for Philadelphia, where I'm from. That's brotherly love, sisterly affection. And some people don't ever want to get past that. They don't want to clarify what the relationship is. Oh, that's just my friend. Right? But then you have what we call this agape type of love, which is, most people know that as this unconditional. There's no conditions to it. It's just, okay, I'm ready to flow with it. I'm ready to go with it. Most people are not at that place where they're ready to flow or go because they haven't taken the time to get to know.
Right. Gotcha. And I understand. I wanted our audience to hear that you say that again, because people don't really know themselves. And then they get into a relationship and want other people to know them when they don't even know themselves yet, right?
Correct.
So I'm going to put my mic down because what was the exact turning point in your counseling career or your career as a therapist? And I would say therapist because you're actually being a therapist right now.
Okay.
You were a minister before this, correct?
So my earlier part of life, I used to be a pastor. I actually walked away from that in 2010. Now, I walked away. What I say that is because as I started to read and started to understand metaphysics, and I got into the metaphysics of self. Self-knowledge, self-understanding. I graduated from metaphysics into expanding in the consciousness. So then, as I began to expand in consciousness, I began to expand. And so it expanded me so much so that it was beyond all what I thought I knew. I went over and above and past that. Now, I'm not knocking religion, but religion to me becomes rituals. What is rituals? I religiously get up every day and brush my teeth. I religiously get up every day and wash my face. I religiously get up every day and get dressed. So and rituals can have the propensity to become habitual. So it was habit forming. And so I broke that so that I can begin to expand and go into other areas. I did this show in the Bay Area and they were talking about equally yoked. And I blew them away because I said, I don't believe in equally yoked anymore. And they looked at me like, well, what do you mean? I said, because how can you ever stretch and go beyond? If you bring somebody into your space, somebody should be able to come into your space and stretch you to take you someplace you've never been. But if we equally yoked, we gonna keep doing the same thing and keep going in a circle and a circle and a circle. So I just believe that when two people have what we call these synergistically encounters, it's a frequency that happens, right? It's a vibratory frequency. So we're vibing. That doesn't mean we're the same. but we're vibing because I don't want the same me. Because if I get the same me, that means one of us are obsolete, right?
Okay.
So, but I do want to vibe with somebody that can stretch me, and you should want to vibe with someone that can stretch you and take you to a place that you've never been before.
And stretching can be uncomfortable sometimes, but necessary.
But can I tell you something?
Yeah.
So the universe doesn't call us to comfortability. The universe calls us to accountability. So maybe the person's coming into your life to keep you accountable, not comfortable. That's why they're stretching you.
Okay. All right. So I want to say this. The 3 stories, you teach that every romantic encounter involves 3 distinct narratives, like life story, right? Yeah. Like story, and then love story, right? Let's talk about that. Where do your most couples misstep when transitioning from like to life?
That's good. That's one of the series that I taught that did really, really well on that series. It's called There's 3 stories to every encounter. The first story is your like story. You first of all have to determine whether you like each other. Once you determine that you like each other, then the pursuit begins. But while that pursuit is beginning, your life story is already going. So in your like story, you start to have some moments. You start to have some meaningful moments. You start to have some magic. You start to create some experiences. You start to create some history. So if it begins to progress, or if it begins to morph, or if it begins to transition, the ultimate goal is you want it to morph and transition into your love story, right? Mm-hmm. But in the life story, there's so much to be discovered. Most people jump really quick from like to love without taking the time to really understand why you like each other.
And if you like each other.
Absolutely. So it's an encounter. But also, to really understand those 3 phases or those 3 stages, I do a series. It's on my website. It's called Learning the 5 Stages of Dating. Because the first stage of dating, this is what we would be in that like stage, is what we call the meet and greet. Meet and greet is... if I met you today, I'd probably ask you, let's go have some coffee or something. Why? Because I want to interview you. Because I already know what the job criteria, I already know what it is that I'm looking for. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's just like when somebody's interviewing for a job, they already know what's a fit for that position. Mm-hmm. I know what's a fit. So if you get this series, it takes you through a series of questions, what I call the C's. What are the C's? First of all, you want to understand what kind of commonalities you guys have. Are there any commonalities? Then you want to understand, how's the conversation? How are we communicating? Because is there any flow? But then you want to go from, is there any chemistry? Now, most people build relationships on chemistry. I don't, because you can have chemistry with multiple people, right? Mm-hmm. But the one that we miss is there a connection? Because you are not connected to everybody. You will not be. You hear people so often say, oh my God, we have so much chemistry. But you can have chemistry with multiple people. But you don't hear people say very often, oh my God, we are really connected. Because that's what you want to look for. You want to look for the connection. Now, how do you find that? I also give you questions to ask. The first question that I give is, you ask somebody, what makes you unique? They may start off slow, but once they start talking about themselves, they're going to go, right? What makes you unique? And again, that's that merge and energy thing, because again, when you merge energies, you create synergy. But what is synergy? Synergy is 2 people that are uniquely in sync. Mm-hmm. So then what makes you unique? That's what you want to find out. But then from there, I tell them to go to, ask them, how do you spend most of your days? I'm not asking you what you do for a living, because that's old school. Mm. But if I ask you how you spend most of your days, I'm going to figure out what you do for a living, and I'm going to see if you're lazy. I'm going to see if you get up. I'm going to see if you're an early riser, if you're a late riser, because I know what's a fit for me, right? Mm-hmm. But then I want to ask, how do you typically spend your weekends? Now I'm going to find out, are you a partier? You like to go out? You like to hang out? I'm not asking you party. I'm giving you questions that's going to pull the answers that I really want. But then I'm going to ask you, like, how's your family dynamic? Are you close with your mom? You close with your dad? All these things. But you don't want to ask these questions as if you're interrogating them. You want to flow with these questions so that the person that's sitting opposite side of you don't feel like he or she's being interrogated. They feel like they're having a great conversation, and you just begin to pick your spots. Now you can go analyze and say, oh, this is probably a great person, but it's not a fit for me. No knock against them.
Okay.
But it's just not a fit for you.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because you as a woman, you should really know what's your fit. Why? Because I feel, now this is where I become old school. I feel like I should find you, the woman. I should find you, rather. But when I find you, there's 3 things that should happen on your behalf. Mm-hmm. The first thing that should happen is you should be ready. It means you've done the work that's required. Ready. You got to get, you've done the work that's required on you, knowing thyself, understanding thyself, being true to thyself. So you got to be ready. But not only that, you got to know how to recognize. Recognition seems you've sat down, you wrote down, what are your deal breakers? What are your deal makers? What are your absolute non-negotiables?
Now, let me stop you right there. Do you think that changes as time goes by, as you mature and you get older and you learn new experiences? Do you think those things change about you? And as you grow?
This is a hell of a question. You know why? Because when you select somebody, you should select somebody with not just who they are now, but with them having the capacity to have the understanding who you're becoming. That's most people don't look at it that way. Mm-hmm. You got to select somebody that you feel has that capacity, right, to handle who you. Because why? You are always in a state of becoming. Mm-hmm. You are always evolving, but likewise they are too. We're always in that state of becoming. We're always in that state of evolving. So as we continue to evolve, yes, that will change, but you also want to select somebody, again, that has the capacity, right? Like I was in a counseling session with somebody and they said, they don't love me. I beg to differ. I said, I beg to differ. They love you to their capacity.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
That's the capacity they have to love you. Mm-hmm. But yours is different. Mm. So for you, they don't love you because your capacity is different. Mm-hmm. And see, all of these are different dynamics that we don't really dig deep into.
I agree. That's why you're on this show, though. And I knew that reading and going over some of your bio things, that you were perfect for this segment and what I was trying to accomplish here. Do you talk about, I haven't got a chance to read the book yet, but do you talk about attachment styles in your book as well, or do you talk about it in counseling sessions?
So I don't know that I literally would say that I classify it as attachment styles, but what I do give is I give a lot of Reggie's recipes that will allow you to formulate your ingredient that's going to get you to that place of understanding what makes you attractive so that the person could see through you, not just see you, but see through you to see what's coming out of you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for answering that. Absolutely. I appreciate that. Let's talk about Awake and Ready to Date. Okay. In your book, you discuss hacking the subconscious mind, right, to build a positive outlook while dating. I got this question for you. Okay. What is one daily practical exercise a single person can do to retrain their subconscious?
Talk to themselves. Tell themselves who they are, what they want, and put it into the atmosphere. Not only who they are, but what they want to attract. And because once you put it in, your words have power. You speak, the Bible teaches you speak those things that be not as though they are. But wherever your attention goes, that's how your energy flows. So whatever it is you want to bring about, that's what you got to think about.
So where energy goes, energy flows.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wherever the attention goes, that's how energy flows. Mm-hmm. So now what are we thinking about? That would be the what is taking the bulk of your thoughts? What have you not gotten over that last person yet? Because if you have not gotten over the last person yet, we're gonna have some issues here. Mm-hmm. But you're trying to get another person and you haven't gotten over the last, we're gonna have some real issues here, right? Mm-hmm. So what's taking the bulk of your thoughts? Because whatever you think about, that's what you bring about. Right. And a lot of times I hear people say there's no good men out here. That's bull crap. It's not, because you keep saying that. That's why it's not, because that's what you see. And that's what you've convinced your mind to believe, right?
Yeah.
There's plenty of good men. And if you start talking like that, I'm telling you, the universe is such a
the
master
universe is always listening. Always
choreographer.
listening. Yeah.
Right?
I know I'm a master manifester, so I do know that. Yeah.
And that's why it's you and I one verse. It means verse, speak into existence.
Yeah.
I mean, one is in accordance. One is in alignment. That's all it's about. It's all about being in alignment. Once you are in alignment, it's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
But it takes work.
Yeah. Reggie, I'm going to ask you one more question before
please.
we're going to go to one song, but I got to ask this question before we get off. So vetting versus exclusivity. Okay. You noted that exclusivity must be actively earned during the vetting process. What are the absolute non-negotiable boundaries someone should look for before granting that exclusivity for one person or wanting to be in that relationship?
So that's not a one-size-fit-all answer, because your non-negotiable may be different than the next person's. I would have to ask you, what is something that is an absolute non-negotiable for you? Because that's like somebody saying, I just want a good man. Well, what does your good man look like? Because your good man may be a man who has a job. This person's good man may be a man who has integrity, who has morals. You see? So that's not like a one-size-fit-all answer. We have to go dig deep to see really what is your non-negotiables.
Yeah. And that's why love looks different for everybody. And, the way you want to be loved may not be the same way someone else wants to be loved. That's why when we package it, I believe that we get bad relationships, because we've packaged what somebody else feels like it should be, or what somebody else did, or what somebody else feels like they want to feel like. So they're telling you, well, your man should be doing this, or your man, that may not be what that person needs or wants, right? We're going to come back. This is great. This is good. We're going to come back. We're with Reggie Rogers, and he is an author and also a relationship coach, an amazing relationship coach. But you're listening to The Flow right here with Her Flow on Hot 702.5 FM, Risky Radio. We'll be right back.
To roll up, tell me what's the hold up. So hit it. Let's talk about this now. I make it real loud. Unneeded problems, trust has fallen. Got folks calling my phone now. What you gon' do? Need me to do? Roll through and solve this problem. Unneeded problems, trust has fallen. Got folks calling my phone now. What you gon' do? Need me to do? Roll through and solve this problem. I know you run your sister, so I'ma just keep it crisp. Ooh-wee, believe me,
I love what you got, but I'm young and I'm dumb, running straight to the top. Leave it color-coded with it. Love whenever you be showing emotion, yeah, that mean I got you. To be honest, ain't a lot of chicks that really top you. And you know I'm with it, nothing to lose. You got to choose. I be around some groupies, but I'm not into those. Yeah, I want you in the picture, but you changing your pose, banging me up, calling my phone, saying you know what I'm doing. You know you hard, you ain't moving. So tell them cats in them DMs, if I see him, my baby gon' be making a post that say free him. Cause your love worth 100 miles of running facts. Let me call this girl back.
To choose on these big moves, she chose on me. No duck goose, meditation to the mind while I'm making moves. Tunnel vision to the grind. No, I will not lose, and I'ma put you on. Stick to myself and I'ma be in my zone. Baby, what do you want? She wanna ride my wave, and I'ma play it safe. Can we be on go? Hustle and flow. Gotta keep my mind clear, gotta stay away from stress. If we dress to impress, you can hop in my ride. Understand where we at, we gotta stay on track and hold each other's back. You just hop on my wave, we'll be okay. You are the question and I am the answer. With you, my baby, my heart beats faster. I'm just here to change your life. You're as sharp as a knife. Smoking spinach with my olive oil. Yeah, I planted the seed in the soil. But what did I plant to be raw? We gotta stay healthy. No, we can't get spoiled. We are the truth and there are no rules. You a ruby, baby, you're a jewel. And I know love is easy, yeah. I need you to believe me, yeah. I knew you was gonna be my girl. Let me take you away from this world.
Close your eyes. Imagine a room that doesn't just look beautiful, it feels alive. The lighting is perfect, the energy is electric, and the scent of gourmet creation is in the air. Now look around. You aren't just checking the kitchen or hovering over the guest list. You're in the moment. You're the life of the party. Welcome to the world of irresistible events and catering. In a city built on spectacle, we specialize in spectacular. At Irresistible Events and Catering, we just don't fill plates, we curate memories, because our philosophy is simple, elegant, and absolute. We plan, cater, and style any event. Why settle for ordinary when you can have the irresistible? Elevate your event at irresistibleeventslv.com. Hey, this is The Flow from Hot 702.5 FM, Risky Radio. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. to listen to dope people, dope topics, and dope vibes. Hey, this is The Flow from Hot 702.5 FM, Risky Radio. Tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. to listen to dope people, dope topics, and dope vibes. Hey, 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 welcome back. You are listening to Her Flow right here on the Flow on Hot 702.5 FM. I thank you for tuning in every week at 4 p.m. where I'm blazing hot every single week. And I have the best guests. You guys don't even know. You got to tell your friends about me. All right, listen, we have C. Reggie Rogers here on the show, and he is an author and has a podcast, and he's a relationship coach. He is the GOAT, y'all. Y'all should, if you missed the last segment, please do me a favor. Go back and listen to it again. And we are on all platforms, so make sure that you share with a friend. If you're trying to get into a relationship, or you're already in a relationship, or you're thinking about a relationship, or you had past relationship problems, and you're trying to get to know yourself, this is a show for you. Okay, so go back and listen to it. Hey, Reggie. Hey. How are you? I see Reggie.
Over here, I see you got it right.
Yeah. So we're going to go back into, I want to talk about the modern dating culture. Let's talk about that. Okay. So presence versus commitment. Let's talk about it. You recently shared the idea that a man's presence is not commitment, and that someone can enjoy your company without choosing you. How can people tell the difference between active pursuit and passive enjoyment?
Good. Active pursuit and passive enjoyment. I think that active pursuit is, you use the word present. Present means that person is present. Doesn't mean that person is convenient. Because a lot of times people will be convenient when it's convenience for them. They show up when it's advantageous or beneficial for them. So they're not necessarily present. So you have to determine, what do you want? Do you want convenience, or do you want commitment? Or you have to determine, do you want somebody who's present, or do you want a problem? Because oftentimes when it just becomes convenient, it becomes a problem. Because somebody's on a page that the other's not. So now we're going to have some issues because, it's not exclusive. There's no exclusivity. You want exclusivity, but you're afraid to have that conversation. Because if you have that conversation, when you do get the part that's convenient, you're being satisfied, but you're afraid that you might run them away by having the conversation. So you have to determine, again, people are going to do to you what you let them. And if you let somebody be that and do that, that's what it's going to be. So do you want somebody who's present, or do you want somebody that's convenient? You have to determine that. Let me explain something to you. And if you get this principle, it'll help who's ever listening today. If you just grasp this principle, the basis of all relationships is self. The basis of all relationships is self. You cannot have a relationship without you. Right?
That's right.
So therefore, the only person that you can control in a relationship is you. People go into relationships thinking they're going to control and change. You can't control, nor can you change. The basis of all relationships is self. So if the basis of all relationships is self, the only person that you can control in a relationship is you. So then you have to be so solid with you so that you understand what it is that you want, and you have to be clear so that there's clarity. And so when it's clear and there's clarity, the other person has to think whether, okay, this person ain't having it, so I can't do it.
I got you. Okay, so let's talk about the core concept that you talk about, dating from an expanded conscious perspective. For someone stuck in toxic patterns, explain this in layman's terms. Someone that's stuck and just like, I can't get out, I keep choosing the same person, can't get out of it. Explain that.
Okay, that's why the book is called Awake and Ready. Key word here is ready.
Okay.
Why? Because a lot of people awake and replay. A lot of people awake and repeat. A lot of people awake and reinforce. What do they replay? Yesterday. They want something new, but they keep doing what they did yesterday. They want a new energy, but they're still using yesterday's frequency. So they're just replaying, and then they repeat. But then they reinforce why they keep replaying and repeating. You know, I just made up in my mind, it's just no good men in our. So if I'm just gonna be with somebody, at least I know this person. Right? So you're just gonna let this person keep doing what he's been doing. So that's why you keep repeating. That's why you keep replaying, because now you're reinforcing. So I'm trying to get you to this place of so that you can become awake and ready. So ready means we can move past all of that nonsense. We going past it so we don't have to deal with this toxicity. Let's get ready. I got to get you ready. You know, so that's what this book is.
I love it.
I'm like pushing you to get to that place where, you know, yesterday's gone. We going into a whole new dimension. We are elevating our consciousness.
Because if you never do that and you're still stuck on yesterday, I've seen people in relationships, they just keep replaying the same issue. They can never grow. One person's never willing to expand. The other person can't communicate. Explain communication in a relationship. I want to know.
Good question.
Yeah, explain
Okay,
that.
so communication. Let's break that word down. Communication comes from, you know, when we have a conversation and communication comes from the word communion. As we talked about religion, right? If you know anything about religion and communion is quote unquote considered to be sacred. And one of the things you will hear them say is you must first examine yourself before you partake of any of these elements that's pertaining to the communion. So it's sacred, but you have to examine yourself. But the word communion is where we're going, is where we get our two words. Communion comes from two words, common union.
Okay, thank you for that.
Right? So now, in order to have a clear, concise conversation, you must first examine where it's coming from, examine the thoughts, and every word, some words don't need to be spoken, because when you put a word out there, you can't pull it back.
That's right.
So now, you know, you have to think about what you want to bring about, right? So now it's about you and I getting in alignment so that we have this common union.
Got it.
So now, as we are speaking to each other, I'm not putting you down. You're not putting me down. I'm not saying you never. I'm saying things to you that's going to uplift you. I'm going to say things to you that's going to expand you. I'm going to say things to you that's going to make you dig deep down and pull out of you what you didn't even know you had in you. See, that's that common union, because now we're elevating each other. That's a real conversation.
Yeah.
That's communication.
Yeah.
Being on the same page, picking each other up. Because when two people are not on the same page, then there's tension, there's ambivalence, right? There's ambiguity. So now, in order to shift that, let's create what we want in this space, this common union.
Yeah.
Let's talk into each
that.
other.
Yeah.
That's communication.
Yeah. That's good stuff. That's really good stuff. I want to talk about this tech, these apps and the you know, where we are in the dating process. So as you're a singles empowerment coach as well, right? And so how do you advise clients to maintain mindfulness and spiritual awareness where modern dating apps are built around fast, low effort interactions?
Good stuff. So you're not going to get there's no way around it. That's where we are today. So you have to celebrate it but learn how to utilize it properly. Dating apps can be a friend or they can be a foe. How do they become a friend? It's when you've done the work on you. You know what your deal breakers are, you know what your deal makers are, and you know what your absolute non-negotiables are. So therefore, you can cut across the grain. You don't have a whole, because time is our biggest commodity, and we don't have a bunch of time to waste. So with that being said, you're going in, and now you realize that when the energy's wrong, the conversation's not that long, because you know what you want, right? So that's when it becomes a friend. But when it becomes a foe is when you have no clue.
Yeah.
You don't know. You have no idea of what's a fit for you. So therefore, you don't even have a target. So how can you hit a target if you don't have a target?
That's right.
That's when it becomes a foe.
That's powerful. That's powerful. Tell me, so Reggie, you do a lot of traveling, and you speak at a lot of engagements. Tell me about some of the things that you do, that you are now involved in.
Oh, yeah. I have a podcast with actor and comedian Buddy Lewis.
Okay.
It's called the Coach and the Comic, Buddy Lewis and I. And then I'm doing a taping for a television show next week in L.A. With Mike Hill. Most people know Mike. Mike used to be on CNN.
Who's Mike Hill?
He used to be on CNN.
Oh, CNN. Okay.
Mike Mike was married to Cynthia Bailey from Housewives of Atlanta. And then Hope Flood, actor and comedian. She's actually the executive producer.
Okay.
So we're doing a panel Friday the 22nd next week.
Okay.
So
is there something somebody can actually see, or is it just going to be? Is it
we're
going to be
taping.
televised? Okay,
No,
it's
we're
going to be
taping
taping.
next
Okay.
week.
Okay.
I'm not sure when it's going to air, but we're taping. I've been blessed. I've done Sherry Shepherd with Kim Whitley.
Okay.
I actually did Tamron.
Cameron Hall. Okay.
I did. Yeah. No, I've been pretty blessed. So I've done a lot.
I'm proud of you.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah. I want to. So we're going to talk about your personal life a little bit. Let me dig a little bit deeper.
Throw it out there.
So you reach thousands of singles, and you teach them how to date consciously. In your own personal life, and this is going to probably be round up, in your own personal life, when was the last time your ego got the best of you, where you had to actively check yourself using your own tools?
All the time. I mean, because men are born. It's in our DNA to be warriors. We are warriors by nature. That's what we do. So therefore, we are constantly wanting to hunt, wanting to chase, because we're warriors. And what makes us happy more than anything is trophies. That's what men. That's what we appreciate. That makes us feel like we're manly men, because the more trophies we can gather, the more we feel toys. The more toys we can gather, the more we feel like we have achieved as a man. So I constantly have to check myself, because that's what we are. We're ego driven. And as a woman has to constantly has to constantly check herself, because she's emotionally driven.
Some of us now. I think it's a whole different ballgame now. I'm not saying like it's not that you're not right, but I think that in the culture that we live in now, things are starting to merge where some women are, the same way men are now. And I see that a lot.
Is that good?
I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm saying that equally at this point, I think that, and it just depends, what segment of life you are and what your culture is, what culturally you are. And I'm not talking about race or anything like that. I'm talking about, because you have the LGBTQIA community where there are masculines and where there are feminine. So it's different. I'm just saying there's a different culture. But
there are still principles in regards to even the masculine, feminine energy that we're talking
absolutely.
about. There are still principles that will still apply.
Yeah, because you have feminine and feminine, and you have
principles that will still apply.
That's what I was trying to get to with you.
And I want to throw this out there too. I want to show you how this merge. I want to show how you can merge that, where it becomes really, really interesting, so people can have that magical encounter. So the way that we have been designed by nature. So I talked about a woman is emotionally driven. So in some degree, the way that the universe or the manufacturer made a woman, he made a woman to really be like what we would call this glory producer, right? That's important. So if she understands how to utilize what we call this glory producing mechanism, she can get a man to do anything in the world she wants him to. It's just how you present it and package it. For example, because you're so emotionally driven, if your man wasn't in the habit of making up his bed, you would typically say, I'm getting so sick and tired, you never make up your bed, and then you can just start making up your bed, because you're emotionally driven, right? But because I'm ego driven, I'm not gonna make up my bed. My defense mechanism is gonna come up, right? I'm not gonna make up my bed. But now let's change it. If you say, here's your glory producing mechanism. Baby, did I ever tell you how sexy you were when you bend over and pull the sheets up?
Absolutely.
I love to see your biceps and triceps when you were pulling those sheets up. To me, that is so sexy. You know what that man's going to do?
Yeah, he's going to make that bed.
You just produced that glory. I'm
oh my gosh, I got to have you back on. We have 2 minutes. Okay. And so with this last minute that I have, and you got to make this really short, because I want... what is a personal misconception people often have about you because you are a relationship coach? Do they assume your personal life is completely flawless? And that's the last question. We got about 30 seconds to answer.
I'm not sure that I think they check my personal life to see if I practice what I preach.
Yeah.
And I do. My home life is solid.
Yeah.
My stuff is great.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're at the end. And it went by fast. I had more questions for you, but that means I have to bring you back, right? Part two. You know what? Thank you for coming on. And I really appreciate it. It was amazing. If you guys missed the interview, please go back. You can see it on YouTube. You can see it on IG. You can see it on X, all these platforms. And you can ask Alexa, hey, Alexa, download the Hot 702.5 app. And you can even see it there. So thank you, Reggie, for coming on. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to The Flow with Her Flow right here on Hot 702.5 FM. And I will be back next week at 4 p.m. blazing hot. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next week.
Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot702.5fm.com.